Hello, and welcome to a special edition of Eric the Car Guy. Why is it special, you say? Well, if you've read the title, you probably know why. Because I'm not fixing a car today, but rather an Xbox 360. Recently, my Xbox 360 went out. And this, I should start out by saying this repair is for 3 red lights. I'm actually going to show you real quick how to get the codes out to figure out what some of the other problems might be. I'll post a link in the description as to what some of those codes might mean. But I'll start off by saying that I am by no means an expert as far as Xbox repair is concerned. However, after my Xbox went out with 3 red rings, I called around and called Xbox, and they told me they couldn't do anything for me, or unless I wanted to spend money, and I didn't have any money to spend, but I wanted to play my Xbox. So I figured, what the heck, I was either going to break it totally or have to buy another Xbox, which getting my old Xbox fixed would have been just about the same thing as buying a new Xbox. All that aside, through my research, I watched a few videos on Xbox repair. Some of them were good. In fact, the technique I'm about to show you actually fixed my Xbox. But they weren't my videos, so now we have my videos. So let's get started. Done talking. Let's fix this stinking Xbox. These are the general tools you're going to need for the job. Need some number 10 washers. Some of these neoprene washers. These are about that big. So they're not that large, but they're neoprene washers that will fit along with these washers. And then you're going to need 8 of these machine screws. And these guys are 10-32 by 3/8. So they're 3/8 of an inch long, and they're 10 by 32. So you're going to need 8 of these guys. 8 of these washers. 8 of these washers. A pair of needle nose pliers. Pocket screwdriver. Small Phillips head screwdriver. This is a T10. This is a T8. This is a small pick. And this is pretty important here. It's kind of expensive stuff too. This is Arctic Silver number 5 high density polysynthetic silver thermal compound. I suggest you go for the expensive stuff here. You can get this at like Radio Shack or whatever. But this helps conduct heat between the GPU and CPU and the heat sinks themselves. So this is a pretty important component to this whole job. So this little tube right here I think was, I don't know, about 10-11 bucks. But considering the cost of getting an Xbox repaired, there you go. And then just a regular heat gun. Alright, first, we'll see what's going on here. I have 3 red rings on the Xbox. Not cool. Alright, when you do turn on the Xbox, the light on the power brick should go green. If it does not go green, you may have a problem with that power supply. Now here's something fun that I'll show you. If you hold down the sync button and the eject button at the same time, these will start to flash very quickly. Now that they're flashing very quickly, I think I've been pressing both again. And you see that's a 1, that's a 0, that's a 2, 3. 1, 0, 2, 3 is what I got there. Then it goes back again. 1, 0, 2, 3. Anyway, that's how you get the codes out. From there, you can do other things, but let's start taking this thing apart. Now I hope it goes without saying, you should disconnect the Xbox from the power supply as well as the AV cable before you even start getting into this. If you have a hard drive, remove it. Alright, I'm going to start by removing the sides here. And be careful. I mean, it may be a broken Xbox, but it's still an Xbox. Okay, now it may be hard for you to see, but up inside these little holes, there's these little tabs. And you can just go down through those little holes and pry up on those tabs. Do the same on the other side. You can see where they're through here. That one's kind of a tricky one. Now that you've got it loose, should come right off. So you can see these a little better here of what you're pushing on. It almost looks like somebody might have tried to take this apart before, because those are both broken. Anyway, that part's off. This works the same on this side. And that you've got little places in here. You'll see where like there's no hole there. You push up on that. Might be easier if you just pull up on it a little bit and just push on those little tabs. There we go, other side off. Now for the faceplate. For this, I'm just going in with my pocket screwdriver and prying it. And this little face piece pops off. Starting to look a little scary and naked. Now, here's the tell. Once you break this seal, that's it. No more warranty. So know that once you pass this point, there's no going back. You cut the seal, that's it. Game over. Funny. You can see how it wraps around like this, and you're going to have to cut that seal. And you got these. This bottom part is the part that comes off. The top part is actually screwed on. And then back here, it's similar to where you have these little slits. And if you push something into these slits, it helps pry it loose. You'll hear that crack noise when you got them pushed all the way in far enough. There we go. Finally. You can now remove the lower portion. Now, we got some screws. Now I'm using a T10 bit to remove all these screws around the outside. They're really long. Don't forget this guy. Okay. Now that you've got all those long screws out, be careful here at the eject button, because this little piece here goes into that hole, and it's also hooked in up there. So just be careful when you remove that. Now I've got the upper cover off. Okay, and now I'm going to do two things. I'm going to pop this little piece off the front. Come on. There you go. So that all comes off. You just have to unhook that little piece there. That I just like to take off because I don't want it to get broken. Now we'll take this face off. And this is a T8, I think. There's another one under this plastic piece. So pull this plastic piece off. And then there's a last one under here. You can pull that right out of there. It just plugs in. Okay, now I want to take the disk drive out, which at this point should just come up like this. And then you see you've got two plugs down in here. So very carefully unplug those, and you've got your disk drive. Next time I'm just going to remove this plastic shroud here. And it should just pry out, but you got to be kind of careful. That's what you got to do. You got to stick a screwdriver in that hole and pry it back just a little bit. And you can take that whole shroud out. Set that guy aside. You can also take the fans out now, which you can just pry back like that. And they just have a small electrical connector back here. Fans are out. Now that we've come this far, I want to take the board here out of the housing, and I'll take that same T8 screwdriver and remove these screws here. And I'm trying to keep all my screws organized. I pretty much know where they go, but you want to try and keep them together. It makes it easier to deal with in the future. But these screws here aren't really going to matter much, because you're not going to reuse them. So make sure there are no other screws down here. You don't want to crack the board. Now that all those screws are out, I should be able to just lift the board up and pull it out of there. Now this board and these heat sinks are just full of stuff. So get yourself some canned air, or I'm going to use compressed air, to clean all the stuff off here. For the next trick, I want to get these cooling things off of the processors, the GPU and the CPU. So all you need to do is grab a pair of needle nose pliers, and these are sort of hooked on. You just sort of twist. Do what you can not to damage the board. All you really need to do is a couple of sides. And just sort of get it close to the end and twist. Well, if one won't work, try another one. Yeah, there we go. And this will, you have cool little X's. Now that you've done that, you should be able to take these right off of here. This one's still on there kind of good. This goop is still good. And the next step is we're going to clean all this goop up. I'm told that you can clean this goop up or not clean the goop up. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to clean it up there, and I'm going to clean it off the bottom of these. Alright, now I want to clean the goop off of these heat sinks. So I'm just going to start with a razor blade. I think this is an older Xbox. It's a 2006 model, so it is an older Xbox. The newer Xboxes, or at least mine, had a different cooling unit here. While we're at it and we're cleaning these up, we want to take all of these off. These little pegs that were holding it on before. And they're not really on that hard, so you can just should be able to very easily unscrew them. And just be careful not to damage these fins, because they're real important. So, and also they can cut you. There's that part. I'm just going to be using a little bit of adhesive remover. I'm just going to try it on the heatsink part. I'm not going to try it on the processors. I just want to see how well it works. And if I'm honest, I've got to say, this works extremely well. Clean. Now, I would like to very carefully see how much of this I can get clean. This is the heart and soul of your Xbox, so if you damage this, might as well get a new Xbox. Now, something that will work but takes a while is a Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol. But if you can, get the rubbing alcohol at 70%. And with this, I'm very gently just trying to get off the big chunks. Alright, now I didn't spend a whole lot of time trying to get this other gunk out of here, but if you took a Q-tip or something like that and that high percentage alcohol, you could get all that out of there. I'm okay with it the way it is. Okay, now comes the part where you actually fix it. And what you're doing is what's called reflowing the solder. I'll take these off, and I'm actually going to reuse those. Remember, those spots are where the stuff goes. Okay. Now I start with it on this side, and I actually use the lower base. But this is the part where you get out your heat gun. Now I'm going to run this in real time, and I'm going to run this on low heat, but I'm going to go in a pattern to where I'm going long ways like this and then like this, and I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to say do it about 5 minutes on each side. So I'm going to do it 5 minutes on one side, I'm going to flip it and do it 5 minutes on the other. But remember, when you go to flip this, it's going to be hot, so I'm going to use my gloves when I flip it. Now I'm going to flip. Be very careful, it gets fragile when it's hot like that. And continue. Now that we're done with the heat gun, let it cool. Let it get so it's cold to the touch before you do anything. And be patient. Okay, it's been about a half an hour, and this guy's cool again. So now we're going to reinstall the heat sinks. That'd be this guy and this guy. So if I remember right, this one goes here like this. And this one goes over here like this. Now it's time to reinstall these heat sinks. I'm going to start with this one. This is where you get your silver paste out, or your conductive paste. Something I forgot to mention in the tool list was I specially modified this plastic knife with that little flat end, because I'm going to use it to spread this over this processor, because I want a nice even coating. Now you don't need to put a lot on this, just enough. I shouldn't need any more than that. I'll just spread it using my special tool, and I want it to cover every corner. Alright, now I'm going to flip this over. I've got my heat sink ready. So I need 4 screws, 4 neoprene washers, and 4 regular washers. Put a regular washer on, like so, then a neoprene. Make yourself 4 of those. Actually, might as well go ahead and make 8. Okay, it's going to be tricky to try and show you, but take your heat sink and stick it on the board and run the screws up. Might be easy to show you this way. Through the bottom. Just finger tight for now. Alright, now you can run the screws down. But come on people, this is a circuit board and you have those rubber washers. So you just want to run them down till you start to feel a little bit of crush. Don't deform the circuit board, anything like that. The neoprene will actually help lock it into place. Now, the reason I think the videos that I saw wanted to do it this way was, one, because it's probably going to get hard to get those old things back on. But more than anything else, I think as those heat up, they may lose tension on the heat sink, so this may actually help keep it cooler. I'm only speculating here. I don't really know. But you don't really need to tighten it all that much because you got those rubber washers under there. And once you've got the one on, well, do the same thing to the other one. Now with these, see how these holes are here? You can try to line those holes up with these holes when you're running those screws up through. And try to get it on there exact so you don't move it around too much. Just found a flaw. These screws are a little close together. So I'm back this one off a little bit so I can get this one started. Once again, you're just snugging these up. You're not tightening them. If you hear it crack, well, you're definitely too tight. Alright, that should do it. I look in here and I see that it looks a little tight in here, so I'm just going to back it off a little bit. See how down in there was a little too tight, a little too close. I'm backing it off to make it even. There we go. Want to see if we fixed it? Okay, remember these guys? I actually saw somewhere some people wrapped up pennies for this, make little heat sinks for these. I don't know if that works. This little curve goes through the back. I already took some compressed air to my fans. It should pop in there easy. Don't try to force stuff. I'm also going to plug in the drive so I don't get an error for that. Oh wait. Don't forget the fan shroud. Super important. Don't forget this. Just plug that right into the front. You may have to push it down a little bit because the board may stick up a little higher due to the new screws underneath there. So you may have to push down a little bit in order to get that in. Let's get the power and the AV cables hooked up. Okay, got my power. Got this little monitor. And this monitor is hooked up to the Xbox. In case there's people that doubt. Okay. This is the power button right here. Check it out. That's one repaired Xbox. Pretty cool, huh? Well, assembly is the reverse of disassembly. You could mark those long screws that go all the way through the case, but all you really need to do is drop them in the holes, and if they're sticking out all the way, that's not the hole the long screw goes into, and the rest of the short screws are all the same length. Remember, you won't need those screws around where the X's were on the bottom of the case, because you no longer have those things that they screw into. They actually screwed into the bottom of those heat sink screws. So don't even try screwing the bottom part of the board in, but the board will be held in by the outer screws on the circumference. Now, this one had the 3 red rings. I know it worked for this. Now, I'll list what I found online as far as what those codes are after that I showed you how to do those codes. Those other things, I don't know. But if 3 red rings you've got, then this will help you. I am Eric the Car Guy. You can always visit me at EricTheCarGuy.com. Usually fix cars, not Xboxes. But love to have you out there. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter under Eric the Car Guy, all one word. And around here we close with be safe, have fun, and stay dirty. I'm gonna go play some Xbox.